Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Palates. I am Aaron Loomis, and with me, as always, is Jiunn Liu. How you doing, Jiunn?
I am good.
So today we are talking about the Espinosa Reggae Dread. The cigar is, I'd say, a Toro Extra 6-inch by 56 ring gauge. Comes out of the Lozona factory in Nicaragua. Wrapper is Ecuadorian Habano. The binder is from Nicaragua, and the filler is from Nicaragua, Honduras, and has Jamaican Lengua de Vaca tobacco. Blended by Hector Alfonso, price point is $12, and the cigar was released in July of 2017. So, June, what was your pre-light experience like?
I thought the pre-light was good in terms of the look. Medium leather brown wrapper shade, seems tight but visible. Veins, for the most part, pretty well pressed. A bunch of roll felt pretty good. Uniform give, no harsh spots, no soft spots. So good. Of course, one of the main attractions of this cigar, pre-light, anyways, is the dread, hair, kind of a cap to it. Finish off with the Woda here triple cap. Nosita wrapper, a lot of barnyard cedar, smell of the foot, spicy cedar, roasted nuts, cold draw, hay, dry wood, and a faint mustiness.
Yeah, like you're talking about that, how the head's finished off. It's got like 4 little twisted braids on it, so it kind of makes it look like the dreads. It's kind of cool looking thing. I was kind of, trying to figure out different cool things I could do with it in the pictures to see if I could do it. I was trying to commandeer see if I can get like a little action figure that my daughter might have that I could throw the dreads on in a picture. I couldn't find any real quick, so I was kind of stuck. So that didn't work out as well. Aroma from the wrapper was like a light barnyard, some distinct notes of earth and leather. Foot gives a refreshing mix of slightly sweet hay and leather. Pre-light draw was kind of between that foot aroma with like a slightly sweet hay and leather. So getting into the flavor profile, what was your experience like?
From first draw, I mean, it was surprising for me because the profile is pretty delicate, and really for Espinosa standards, it's really delicate. Smooth cream, dry roasted nuttiness, bread, aged cedar, like a graphite crushed rock, kind of a minerals going on. Spices on the retro, it starts to really come in on the retro. Black pepper, spicy cedar, a deeper dry roasted nuttiness. Finish is light with a soft and lingering dry wood. Strength and body medium. Within the second third, main difference is kind of the spice kind of trying to kind of kicking through and kicking up a little bit on the mouth draws. So pretty tamed, but even though it's pretty tame black pepper delivery, in addition to that same cream dry roasted nuttiness, bread, aged cedar, graphite minerals. Retro still unchanged, still a deeper sense of black pepper, spicy cedar, dry roasted nuttiness. Finish, slight wood bitterness starts to kind of come through with the same like soft and lingering dry wood. Strength and body remains at that consistent medium point. Moving on to the final third, it still shows like that same building complexity and spice. So now it's increasing a sharper graphite, so like sharper minerals in addition to a sharper cedar. So by no means is it overpowering, but just it's definitely noticeable. Other mouth draw flavors still there, but less distinct. Retro picks up a bread note with the same black pepper, spicy cedar, dry roasted nuts. Finish also has that same graphite minerals coming through with the faint wood bitterness and dry wood. Strength and body finishes right at that medium mark.
Yeah, the cigar started with some interesting vegetal notes, which I'm assuming is coming from that Jamaican tobacco, along with a little bit of wood. Half and chin, those two flavors are mixing together a bit more rather than just kind of being two distinct flavors kind of running there on their own. At an inch in, a little bit of pepper joined the mix, along with that vegetal note in the wood, and the retrohale was a slightly, vegetal wood note. An inch and a half, that retrohale gained more of a vegetal note as the mouth flavor lost some of it to the wood and the pepper. And as the third was coming to a close, that pepper was kind of very faint in the background, while the profile was back to the mix of the wood and the vegetal note. And the strength was just slightly below medium. Getting in the second third, the wood became more identifiable as oak, and the vegetal note had, again, decreased a little bit. A little further in, the oak gains a toastiness to it, as that vegetal note was really just present on the finish at that point. A little further in, vegetal note creeps back into the profile. It's now really very pronounced on the retrohale with a little bit of wood in the background. And then at an inch in, the oak loses that toastiness and gains a little bit of char, and that vegetal note remains in the background. As the third comes to a close, slightly charred oaks up front, vegetal note in the background, and the retro was just kind of a mirror of that profile. And the strength had bumped up to be just right at medium. Getting the final third, charred oak and vegetal notes are mixing pretty well. Slight wood bitterness in there, also joining the profile. 3/4 of an inch in, vegetal notes only really present on the finish, and the charred and slightly bitter oaks up front. A little further in, vegetal notes completely gone, and the charred and slightly bitter oak remain. That's kind of how the cigar finished out, and strength bumped up a little bit just to be slightly above medium. So in regards to construction for burn and draw, what was your experience like?
I thought construction performance was overall really good. I rated the burn very good. Just one touch up was needed within the second third. Other than that, the ash marks are solid, 1.5 inch increments, relatively straight burn line, and a nice cool burn. In terms of the draw, I rated it perfect. So just the ideal amount of resistance to airflow.
Yeah, burn line was pretty wavy for me through the first inch and a half, and the ash was pretty flaky. But after that, the burn line was really straight, and that flakiness went away. So, not sure if just tobacco placement in there and kind of caused that flakiness or not. But not really a big deal overall. In regards to the draw, it was a little bit loose for me, and especially in a larger ring gauge cigar, I feel like I have less control over the draws. So when it's loose, it makes it even kind of more pronounced. But that kind of went through the first third, and then after that, things tightened up to right where I liked it. So it was loose at the beginning, but it tightened up to where I wanted it. What were your overall thoughts?
Um, I mean, with something like this, it catches your eye and it makes you want to buy because of that dread, head, right? But once, and then you read some literature into it, and you're like, oh, it has Jamaican tobacco, and then I think, oh shit, I hope it's not infused Jamaican tobacco, and which is not. So, and then I think, oh, okay, I'll smoke this. So, basically, I was thinking, I'm very curious what Espinosa take on what Jamaican tobacco tastes like, and their take on Jamaican tobacco, right? So in the format of the Dread, I found it to be on the more delicate and smoother side of flavors. The nuance of the cigars, the earth spice delivery, and that cream roasted nuttiness was prevalent throughout the whole cigar, and it was really tasty. I will say that fans of typical Espinosa cigars, that kind of gives it that signature, especially in the beginning, that spice pop. You should note that this cigar is not that. This cigar is a lot more, on the nuance side, building complexities and that kind of a thing. So I personally enjoy cigars of this nature, so I enjoyed it. But you should know it's not going to be like Espinosa Habano that you're going to smoke.
Yeah, like you, I was pretty interested to see what the Espinosa version of Jamaican tobacco was going to be like. Produce vegetal notes, which I tend to get with Jamaican tobacco. I enjoy vegetal note flavors, so it's not something that turned me off to the cigar. I'm not typically a fan of larger ring gauge cigars, so this is kind of like teetering on that level of where I feel comfortable at. But kind of after a couple inches of this cigar, I wasn't really thinking about that. Construction was pretty good. Flavor profile presented a good offering through the first two thirds. Final third fell off a little bit, but I'm interested also to smoke the regular reggae, just to see the differences between the two lines. And I think that line is typically a smaller ring gauge, so I would typically lean towards a smaller ring gauge than this cigar. So I'm just curious to see what the differences are between the two. Because there's definitely a blend difference between this Dread and the regular line. So I just want to see what that is, but we'll see how they match up after we smoke that one. In regards to the scores, I give it a 6.57. You give it a 7.07. How do you think that matches up with your experience?
Match up well. I mean, I rated the overall flavor experience to be good. Overall good, or very good construction, and that leads me to that makes me, like I said in previous reviews, that it's something that I'll happily smoke again. So 5 being average for those that are so incredibly confused about our scoring system. 7 is really good, man.
Yeah.
It's so good that I would, be happy to see some and smoke again.
Yeah, we scored pretty much the same. A slight score difference in the final third and the draw for us. That's the only difference between it. But yeah, this is a pretty good cigar. I think I was expecting a little bit more fuller strength than this cigar.
Yeah, I don't
And
know
it
why
just
I thought well, no, I thought that because I know typically La Zona gives it that
right,
spice, right?
right.
Yeah.
And I want to say, I think, and I may be completely off on this, that the Dread was supposed to be more of an amped up version of the regular reggae. So, but I may be
Hmm.
either, you know, flip flopping them, or just I may not remember what I heard. So I was a little bit surprised by that. But I enjoyed it the way it was presented. I mean, like you, I'm a fan for flavor over strength, regardless. So if you can deliver the flavor, regardless of what the strength level is, and I'm in. So I dug it. I like Jamaican tobacco, stuff that Macanudo put out, things like that. So I was very interested in seeing. And I think this was a pretty good representation. So, like I said, I want to try the regular reggae now and see what the differences are. Any other final thoughts from you?
Uh, no, let's go find some smoking.
Yep. If you're just catching this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us, but also check out the full written review on the website, developingpalates.com. Follow us on all the social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Google+. And you can catch all of our review recaps on podcasts, so iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.